Hello again, bodybuilding fans around the world. Welcome to another Primetime Muscle. I'm Tim Wilkins. As always, joined by the real deal.
Real deal.
Chris Cormier.
How you guys doing? Good to be back.
Good to have you, buddy. How are things?
It's going great, man. Going great. How about you?
Ready to rock and roll? Ready to introduce the one and only Tarek El-Guindy?
Let's do that.
Great to be here. Love the black tie. You look great too, Chris.
I like that black tie.
No, yeah, that's
a black tie event.
That's tight.
That's what they told me. This is a black tie affair.
That's tight.
Yeah. Well, fellas, we always have interesting topics. We get a lot of interesting topics sent to us and said, hey, what do you guys think of this? Where do you fall on this? And there are very few bodybuilders. And, you know, when we say bodybuilders, we mean people who build their bodies across all divisions: wellness, physique, women's physique, figure, bikini, men's open classic. You know, they're all athletes who build their bodies. So in the bodybuilding realm, previously the winningest bodybuilder of all time was Dexter Jackson. Now, other people who have to diet to compete and lift heavy weights, bikini is no slouch. We talk about this all the time. They are killing it. Laura Lee Chapados lifts heavy. Jennifer Dory, Ashley Kaltwasser, they lift heavy. But Ashley has just surpassed Dexter Jackson on the wins.
She actually right now currently has 37 pro victories. By the time we're done with the segment, she could be very well at 39. She's winning shows everywhere, every weekend. She is the best Olympia employee. She's been saving JW Media a lot of money because she's been taking away a lot of qualifications from people. And actually, a lot of people have a little bit of resentment for that. This competitor, Ashley Kaltwasser, AKA 47, as Chris Cormier has said, she's a track and field star in the state of Ohio. Her ability to maintain the great conditioning weekend after weekend, display incredible physique weekend after weekend, and continue to win shows is impressive. She is the winningest bodybuilder of all times. She's got 37 titles. Now, Dexter was a winningest bodybuilder of all times with the male. Now, obviously, we can look at it and say that possibly male bodybuilding is a little bit of a harder enterprise than bikini. You got to come in with striated glutes like Dexter did. You got to add a lot of muscle, you know, and Dexter has done that. But Ashley Kaltwasser has done something that, you know, 37 pro victories.
Well, and there are fewer shows. Dexter had to compete into his 50s to get that many wins. There's fewer pro men's open shows compared to women's, because I've emceed probably 10 of Ashley's wins.
Yeah.
Now, Chris is over here, and I can tell you this from knowing Chris now for a couple of years. I can feel Chris's skin crawling every time we say bodybuilder.
Damn right.
So I'm gonna come to you because I know as a men's physique competitor, as a men's physique guy, you guys call us men's bikini. So let's talk about real bikini and bodybuilding.
Well, if you're talking bikini, you're talking more like the beauty, the aesthetic of the body. It's not like you're trying to force a lot of mass, forcing a lot of food down your throat, you know, going through, you know, the grueling workouts, the posing rounds, all this stuff. But if you look at a good friend of mine and little brother, shout out to Dexter Jackson. Look at Dexter Jackson's, his whole cabinet of wins is probably filled with, was it 8 Arnold Classics?
Yeah.
He's got Mr. Olympia title under his belt.
2008.
So they have that. They have all competing all around the world, from Australia to, you know, the Ironman. I don't know all his wins off the top of my head, but I guarantee you, aside the ones that I beat Dexter in, he won those shows. But he took second to me a lot of times. Shout out to you, Dexter. But yeah,
Derek, between emails, what are you trying to tell us?
I'm just looking at it. And, you know, you are right. Dexter Jackson's first NPC show was in 1992.
Oh.
And, you know, I see here he did the NPC Southern States Championship in 1992 where he took third. Guys, that's a long freaking time ago. 1992. He retired When? In
You
Orlando.
were just born at that time, were you?
No, I was born a little bit before, but I'm glad you. But you were right. Ashley Cole-Wasser, and maybe advantage or disadvantage, she had the ability to do possibly 10, 15 shows a year and win a lot of them. Dexter had to do it for a long period of
Higher
time.
degree of difficulty. And then even when he was on the later part of his career, he was still beating some of the guys that was actually competing at high level right now. He was beating those guys, and I'm sorry, I know he thinks that he was looking the best, but that wasn't the same Dexter Jackson I was going against. That guy was etched out. That's when we gave him the nickname The Blade.
The Blade was sharper back then.
Yeah, the Blade was sharper than hell back then. So these guys, you know, they were still getting beat by Dexter, and like I said, it wasn't even the Dexter that I went up against. But I tell you what, he knows I give him the most respect. I call him the Jordan of bodybuilding because he was just that guy, you know. And I saw it a long time ago before he even started to win his first shows. He beat him in the first show was in 2005. He won the Arnold Classic. The last one I should have won or could have won, wanted to win.
No, you got the list over there. He was a
wanted
pro.
to win.
He was a pro by 98, correct? Because 98, 99, because I was MC.
So he's a North American champion. He won the light heavy.
Right? Oh, light
he
heavy.
won the light heavy in 1998.
But he competed as bantamweight before, correct?
He started as a lightweight in 1992,
Lightweight.
and then 1995 he comes already as a light heavy. Now, guys, his first bodybuilding show was 1992. His last bodybuilding show was 2020. That is 28 years competitive bodybuilding.
He told me he was choking on that fish so bad towards the end. He said his body just did not want that no more. And I guarantee it's a list of foods that Dexter's not even eating anymore because of that long dietary.
I was out to eat with Dex a couple of times towards the end, and he was on meal 27 or something, and he just put up his hand. We're not talking for a while. Don't talk to me till this is digested.
Yeah, he had his feel of, but you know, the thing is, what he did is he stayed healthy throughout the whole time. He didn't do things that might have hurt him or set him back. He's not jumping off rooftops. He's not, playing basketball and football on the weekends and stuff. He did the business of bodybuilding, and that's where he was able to get the longevity just because he didn't have the injuries to deal with.
You got that fancy machine over there. How old is Ashley? She's
Ashley Cole-Wasser,
34, 35 tops?
Are we able to review her age here? Is she going to be mad at me?
She's got to be mad.
Yeah, we're going to put it out there.
I ain't messing with them women.
If she's got, we pretty much know.
Okay, so I have her age here.
Disclose it.
But I'm going to lie.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it's public here.
It's public.
So is she going to be mad at me?
I don't know.
Hey, when you're a winner and you look like that, you're not going to be mad.
So it says here Ashley Cole-Wasser is 34 years old.
34.
Looking incredible. Phenomenal athlete. Ashley Cole-Wasser. She still has what? Maybe 5-10 more years
Look
to
at
go?
Aaron Stern. If you can continue to look like that into your 40s, then she's got a lot of career left just to maintain where she's at.
I judged the show.
Just the facts. That's just the facts.
Just the fact.
That's how we're talking here.
I judged the show in Tahoe. Great show by promoter Chris Minnis. And we had a final confrontation between Aaron Stern and Ashley Cole-Wasser. Ashley had won a show, I think, in Texas the day before. And she was winning at prejudging, but then the body got a little tired for the finals. And Aaron Stern won that event. But boy, they both looked incredible at the Tahoe show. Shout out to Chris Minnis. Great events. Go to centerpodium.com. He promotes great bodybuilding shows.
Reno, Tahoe, all around up there. Great shows.
I can work with Chris one day, hopefully.
So now think about this. Maybe promoting your own show, the
right.
Chris Cormier Classic.
Just a little hint, Chris.
Just throwing it out there. So let's think about that, though. If she's got 5 more years doing 3 or 4 shows a year plus the O, you know, she's a lock to win 3 or 4 of those shows. She could end up with another 15 to 20 wins and cement that untouchable.
And I think that's the goal. You know, I talked to her coach, Adam Bonilla, great coach, very driven guy. He's based in Las Vegas, Team Elite Physique. And he's got great athletes all over the board. But Ashley is the main horse there. She's the one that wins more shows. And his intention with her is to win as many as possible. She's not slowing down, guys. If she won 10 shows last year, she wants to win 15 this year. And when some competitors say, you are taking away the other people's qualifications, she gets more adamant about it and starts competing even more. Like, oh, you think I'm taking our qualification?
Sorry.
Let me take your heart out too.
Well, you talked about this back in the day when you guys would do all those shows in Germany and Italy and Spain and travel around because it was your living. If she's doing this, once you're dialed in to get that extra, that check, go for that check. It's what you do for a job.
Especially if you don't have a 9-to-5 and you're relying directly on competition, on the sport of bodybuilding or whatever category you're in. And I mean, you have nothing to do but get ready for competition. So we got 4 shows in 4 different countries in 4 different days, all in a row, year after year doing that. And then you have a couple more shows the next week. I mean, that was what bodybuilding was back then.
Well, no matter what side of the fan fence you're on, whether it's bodybuilding, open, or bikini, there is no denying that these two great champions hold their own titles. Ashley will hold those most wins in her respective category, and Dexter will hold his until someone has the longevity to go from 92 to 2021. Those years will never come back, but 28 years, 2022.
But a lot of those
what a run.
competitions don't even exist anymore that he won. So, I mean, just depends on how it's going to play out, but it's going to be really, I don't think anyone in this lifetime that we know of is going to be doing that.
Nope, he may hold it forever. All right, and we'll talk more about that and much more when we come back on Primetime Muscle.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
All right, we're back, and we're talking about a category that is building in popularity around the world. NPC shows are seeing huge growth in women's wellness. But when you look at the top of the sport, especially the Olympia stage, it begs the question, can the world compete with the Brazilians, whether it's genetics, diet, training? Tarek, well, you lean Brazilian.
No, Tim, I was excited to see some of the competitors from other nations attacking the Brazilians on the wellness category. We don't want a category to be symbolized by a country. So, obviously Brazil, bodybuilding was created in America, and obviously a lot of the great champions have been prominent. But the fact that you have a guy like Arnold Schwarzenegger coming in and winning, Hadi Choopan, Big Ramy, Samir Banu, expands to the world, right? And in the wellness, the first year, it was heavily dominated by Brazilians. And then throughout the year, we saw all these girls from all over the world winning shows, right? And I did Olympia TV covering, a girl from Moldova, Chiobu, she won there. And then, people winning everywhere. So I thought that the Olympia, we were going to see a mix of, okay, let's get, 2 Brazilians and maybe 3, 1 American, 1 European, 1 another Latina. But it wasn't the case. It turned out to be just as dominant as the previous year. 4 Brazilians in the top 5. Shout out to the Canadian super blonde, Cassandra Gillis. When I went to judge the show in Vancouver, she was there with her booth. She sells awesome pants. And she was there, and I looked at her, and I said, God, she looked incredible. And she went to the Olympia, and she was on the first call out, and she battled against the Brazilians. I am so proud of her. Every Canadian, I know there's a lot of talk about C-Bum, Ian Valliere, Quentin Beastwood, but people in Canada need to give her credit. She went down to the Mr. Olympia, and she went to the wellness category, and she battled against 4 Brazilians on that top 5. And she actually beat the one that I believe could potentially attack Franciele Matos, which is Rayane Fogal. So put the camera on me.
It's been there for a while. You're good.
Go ahead.
Keep it.
The
Yeah,
Canadian
don't worry about it.
super
Give it back.
blonde.
We'll be over here.
The
Yeah, we were-
Canadian super blonde, Cassandra Gillis. She's an incredible competitor. She didn't back down from any Brazilian on the wellness. She posed well. She was great on stage. And every Canadian fan, male or female, needs to give the credit because she raised the flag there and said, "We will never surrender a category to a nation."
Damn.
How's it going, Chris?
Okay. You're
So-
pretty passionate about it. I like that.
So, well, they may have given her due in Canada. You just really can't tell because they're not over the top kind of people. They're the kind of people who go, "Oh, she's got a good body, eh? It's great.
But
It's nice, huh?"
the Brazilians, they were doing it a lot longer than the other nations. They have a head start, if you will, in the glute and quads. It's almost like genetically gifted, already. So the American girls, I know a lot of them switched over from bikini into the wellness category. I think they're on the rise. I think they're on the rise. I just think they're just got to keep improving with the training. That's where it's going to come from, girls. It's not going to be from trying to get trying to get up into the competition with, just using some kind of injection stuff or whatever, try to improve these different body parts. It's going to come from hard work, and that's what it's going to take. If you want to deal with the Brazilians, you're going to have to catch up, and that's going to be coming from the gym.
Well, genetically, so that's a great point, Chris. Genetically, you can't just say, all right, if I get on this supplement, it's going to just develop my lower body.
Right. You
get on some kind of exogenous androgen and help me. You know what I'm talking about. Stuff. You get on that, and it's going to make your whole body big. But the whole premise of wellness is to have that tapered, smaller upper body with that bigger lower body, the big glutes, the big quads, the big hams.
Chris touched a really good point.
The thick.
Which is the fact that the Brazilians, the category was originated in Brazil, and they have been doing for a longer time. Not to mention, we were just talking about, in the previous weeks about the Nigerian guys, right? And that country had 216 million. Well, Brazil has 216 million as well in 2023. So you're talking about millions and millions of people that are doing bodybuilding, and they're choosing the wellness category. Is more popular than bikini, which is kind of interesting because these girls are also successful in bikini, right? Brazilians. You got Natalia Melo, you got Isa Pessini, Angelica Teixeira, Etila Santiago. You got tons of Brazilian girls that did well in bikini, but still, in Brazil, the focus is wellness. So they've been doing for a while. Do I think it's going to be forever? No, and the Brazilians are going to be upset at me because I do podcasts in Brazil and they go like this to me. I'm even going to say in Portuguese, but they go like this to me. The wellness is ours. The wellness is ours. A wellness é nossa. É nossa wellness.
Well, that's an interesting point. So you walk a beach in America.
Stingy, huh?
You go to,
greedy.
You go to a water park in America, you go to a beach in America, and you look around and you go, well, that one over there works out. You go to a beach in Brazil and you go, you could all compete. You all look like models. Am I correct in this? Because I've been around the world a little bit.
So, the Brazilian culture, they like to have glutes, full glutes. If you are quite thin, in America, you're thin. Oh my God, you look like a model. I want to be like you. You're so thin, In Brazil, if you're thin, you're not it. In Brazil, if you have big glutes, a lower half that's voluptuous, the girls are considered to be attractive at that point. So culturally, they grew up thinking, okay, if I'm going to have something big, it's going to be my butt. And they went to the gym, credit to them, they worked out. And you go to a gym in Brazil, you see tons of them with wellness bodies, not bikini bodies. So that's culturally, plus the population, plus the category is super popular. And that's why they have prominence. But I just want to touch on something, which is the NBA used to be like that, right? We used to talk about the NBA as being solely a sport for Americans. 20 years ago, you would see, 20 years ago was what? 1993. 1993, oh my God, I'm going to give 1993, 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
30 years ago, 1993, the MVP of the NBA was Sir Charles Barkley, okay?
Wow.
Yes, and he was playing for the Phoenix Suns, the Valley right here. And you had second on the voting race, you had Michael Jordan, and then you possibly had David Robinson, and then you had Karl Malone. All those guys were Americans, born in America. If you look right now at the NBA, the MVP race, you got Nikola Jokic. He's not American. You got Joel Embiid. He's not American. You got Giannis Antetokounmpo. God bless whoever
Greek
can
freak.
pronounce that.
The Greek freak.
And Luka Doncic. None of these guys were born in the United States. Can you believe? In 1993, I would say, hey, man, in about 30 years, the NBA MVP race will not have one single American guy. You guys would have drug tested me.
Right.
But you can say that, okay, around the world they've got tall guys who then get athletic and can sink a three-pointer or block a shot. But going back to Tarek's point a minute ago about Brazilian culture, you might be a second or third generation who's been fed the right foods and is just genetically gifted to have the voluptuous lower half with the developed glutes, with the quad sweep, walking like a Clydesdale. I mean, there's that sidewalk that's so graceful.
So you're saying that the thinner girls are not considered the it girls? So,
No, not in Brazil.
So basically saying our 6 is, your 6 is our 10? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, you know, in Brazil, you know, you look at Carnival and so Brazil is a very mixed country, very mixed. You know, for instance, my father was born in Africa and he immigrated to Brazil.
My brother.
What's that? Yeah.
My brother.
My grandfather from my mother's side was born in Portugal, and he met my grandmother who was from Italy. So it's a very mixed country, you know. And then you have the Native American, the Native Brazilians. So it's very mixed. And culturally, in the Latino culture, it looks like the beach culture, you know, with the butt and Carnival and this and that. Some people in Brazil, they get offended. They go, oh, you know, we don't want to be stereotyped, you know, by just being the country of the butts and this and that. Well, it's better to be the country of the butt than the country of corruption.
Yeah.
So take what way you can.
Yeah.
Because, you know, so I often tell them that. But that's part of the culture. And you're a girl growing up. You join the gym and you want to have a big butt.
Well, so looking down your list of people in that maybe the second tier of top 10, what other countries right now are vying for top 5 or have a shot at even moving in?
So it is the United States of America. You know, you got Yarishna, who is incredible.
Is she from Puerto Rico?
She's from Puerto Rico. She did fall, right?
Yeah.
Look, I want to mention here, she's from Moldova, Leonida Ciubu. She won the Romanian Muscle Fest. She's from Moldova. You know, I mean, we're now expanding. And then you got Marissa Andrews. She's an American.
One of my favorites.
You know, so there's clear evidence it's not going to be a Brazilian category. And Cassandra Gillis from Canada put a stop to it and say, hey, in the top 5, there's going to be a girl here who's not from Brazil. I'm here to challenge these Brazilians.
Well,
they got some sisters on the rise. That's what I feel like.
Daisha Johnson.
Yeah, from New York or New Jersey, I believe, the East Coast. She's tough. She's tough. They have a lot of sisters going to come up. I think the Americans just need a little time to get that development, and I think that's going to be the next rush of competitors in the wellness.
Well, and to find out who's going to make that transition from bikini up or from figure across, it's all going to be interesting to see as we develop throughout the year which athletes make their way to the Olympia stage to challenge the Brazilian domination. We'll be back, though, in Primetime Muscle just after this with a topic that everyone's kind of floating around right now when we come back.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on Trifecta.
And we're back with our final segment of Primetime Muscle today. And we had our Olympia. We had our Bikini Olympia. And there are a couple competitors that fell from their anticipated spots. And whenever anybody starts to do that, and especially ones that have come back from previous years, it begs the question, are they done? Have we seen the last of them on the stage, or will they make another run at it? And we're talking about, in particular, Issa Pacini and Janet Leeuw.
No. Issa is way too young. She might have had a year off. There was a year that she was out of the top 5, and then she came back into the top 5. So I don't think she's done. She's too young for that. She's going to be battling. She's going to be winning shows. I thought Janet looked incredible. I thought she really looked great. It's just that the girls that placed ahead of her, they were really at the top of their game. It was the best Daraja Hill we've ever seen. Jennifer Dory looked incredible. Maureen came in and shocked the world. She looked incredible. Ashley Kallwasser, she was probably one of her best physiques.
Why do you think Janet dropped down a little bit then?
So Janet is an incredible competitor, and from the front, it's very hard to beat her. She is really, really good. When she won the Olympia, she won unanimously. She was so dominant. I was there sitting at the judging panel, and we were like, wow, she's taking it this year. From the back, she needs to have fuller glutes and a little bit more on the upper glutes. So that has
genetic,
been
though,
that has been her the challenge. And when she has that, man, you're talking about a complete bodybuilder. Now, the key issue is it wasn't just her and Issa Pacini that fell. You're talking about Lauralee Chapados, who won the Pittsburgh Pro, who won the New York Pro, who won the Arnold, and she was out of the top 5.
We had her vying for first and second. We said if anybody's going to give Jennifer Dory a run for her money this year, it was Lauralee Chapados.
And we were wrong in
all of us.
Who shows up on that day?
We mentioned Jennifer Dory. We mentioned Ashley Kallwasser. And we did mention Maureen Blanquisco. But we didn't mention Daraja Hill. And Daraja came in looking insane, really good. Maureen surprised the world. I thought Jennifer Dory also looked incredible. Tim was talking to us about Sarah Viegas and Natalia, and I think the same concept applies here. Sometimes it's not you falling, it's somebody else just coming and beating you, right?
Yeah, well, and in this case, especially with Janet, and this is what I go back to with like Jeremy Buendia. You take a year off, you come back, and the sport has left you behind. Now, Jeremy's got the ability, I think, more so than others, to catch up to the sport and say, all right, I can still do this. But it begs the question, the other girls changed their shape. The other athletes evolved. And Janet brought the best Janet from 2019-2020, but not the 2022 that needed to be in that top 5, and especially not win.
When she won, go ahead, Chris.
Well, do you think like that is something that she might be facing going, or do you feel like, she can, a girl can always come in better. It's not like, it's not a chance for that. But what is she going to need to do to get back and to be a front runner in the sport?
Oh, well, I think she needs to duplicate the year that she won the Olympia. And I don't think she's far from it.
Will that be enough, though, in today's climate?
Great question, Tim. It could be enough. It could not be enough, but I don't think she would be placing 8th. I think she would definitely be on that final top 4 call out with some of these girls. So, hey, listen, she would have been right there in the battle, but I don't think she would have been out of the top 5.
Now, Chris, you don't know necessarily because you weren't there training with her or training her, but I've seen videos of Issa train. I've seen Aaron Stern train. We know Lauralee trains like a beast. You trained with her over at what was that place in Stewart?
Iron University.
Yes.
Lauralee needs to hold herself back from what she would probably be capable to do with her physique. So that's going to be a tough task.
To fill out a little bit more.
She was over-conditioned.
Yeah, like she can overdo it is what I'm saying.
Well, Issa was a little over-conditioned this year too, so she can back off. And I can't help but think that's going to be easier. So with Janet, she's got to step it up to be as conditioned and grow a little bit compared to those other girls, correct?
Yes, correct. So that's going to be, tougher training and paying closer attention to the results she's going to get from the diet. And that's the preparation. But I know she put a lot into it this past year, and I'm sure she's going to want to do a lot better the next time. But I really seen that she was really put a lot into this last Olympia.
Well, and Isa, these ladies post their pictures, and going into it, she was shredded beyond the bikini standards for sure. Her stomach was not just flat, but shredded and concave and vascular. It was a difficult thing to say, fill out a little bit.
So Tim, the bikini is one of the toughest things because, with Isa Piscini, and I talked to her coach, great coach, Ricardo Panayin, one of the best in the business. When you are talking about a bodybuilder that's 300 pounds, if they are, 2 pounds over or 2 pounds under condition, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's 300 pounds, he's still massive.
Yeah, you won't be able to tell.
But with the bikini, the bodies are so sensitive. You get Isa Piscini with that small little frame and you add a little bit more muscle, her V-taper starts looking like huge. Oh my God, she's too muscular. She looks like a figure competitor. And then you get Laura-Lee Chaparro. She has that beautiful frame and she's over-conditioned because she's tall. We go, oh my God, she's so lanky. She's not popping. Their physiques are so sensitive that any little change alters completely their bodies. And I give credit to the coaches because they're like this, too much, too little. We need to nail this. If you don't mind, I want to mention 2 competitors. 7th place in 6th place, Amy Lynn Delgado.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Amy Lynn Delgado places 6th. Laura-Lee 5th, Amy Lynn 6th. She had an explosive year. She won a few shows. And this is, I believe this might be her Olympia debut. And she's in 6th place already. Incredible. Phoebe Hagen from the back. This competitor from the United Kingdom is formidable. She can move up real quick. So as we're talking about all these changes, watch out for Amy Lynn Delgado and watch out for Phoebe Hagen. They can move in real quick.
There you have it.
There it goes.
I just wonder, because it's a different type of thing as people progress through the sport. As the sport progresses, they take a year or 2 off. They're bringing in the best. That's the hardest thing to understand with this. On any given day, you bring in your best and somebody brings in better. And then 4 people bring in better. And 5 people, you start dropping, like Arami this year. When you go from 1st to 5th, you got to take a long, hard look in the mirror and say, was I so off, or has everybody else in this last year moved so far past me? Do I want to put my body through that ever again?
But the thing is, though, in this class bikini, you have so many girls it's a minute, small little difference, if any difference, from the whole lineup. So it's like, like Tarek said, it's like just a little bit this way or that way is gonna change a lot in places also.
So I'm sure you go through this like I do, because Tarek, we're going to get to him in a second and ask this. So you're judging bikini at that level, right? And you say it's minute differences, if anything at all. Then they do quarter turn. Then they do quarter turn again, and it's the glute shot with them all across, and they go walk it back to see what's moving, what's not moving, how they move naturally, and they're all flawless.
Where do you go?
Dude.
It is one of the hardest
Where do you
classes
go?
to judge. Chris is right. It's very minute. It's not like, okay, Derek Lunsford versus Hadi, and Hadi hits abs and thighs, and you can clearly see he has more separation, and then Derek hits a back double biceps, and you go, okay, clearly Derek wins. But I want to go back to something. Ashley Kowalser, we were just, bragging about her winning all these shows. A few years back, she fell from, she was Olympia champion, and then she came back. She placed, I think, 3rd or 4th, and then in 1 year, she was out of the top 5.
Yeah, I remember that year.
And now she's driving right back into the top 5. So this talk that Isa Piscini and Janet might be done is ridiculous. They can be right back in. The bikini is one of the hardest classes to judge because the difference so minute, but I give credit. These competitors, they are bringing their best.
So we don't want to downplay your love and following of the show, but Tarek officially says whoever sent that topic in, it was ridiculous. So this is one of the things I love about the sport, and we do love your suggestions, by the way. I'm just giving you a hard time. This is one of the things I love about the sport. On stage, Olympians, Issa, Janet, Ashley, Maureen eventually.
Jennifer Dory and Maureen.
Jennifer Dory. So we essentially could have 5 former Bikini Olympias on stage going at it for the title this year.
Getting sticky.
And imagine you have a top 5 final call out. You know somebody is repeating, or Ashley
Or Daraja.
or Daraja. So it will be interesting. It's a great compilation of Olympia champions.
I think with that being said, the competition has passed around a lot. The champions. It's going to have Olympia champions in bikini, Olympia champions in bodybuilding. It's going to have like 3 former champions in the top whatever is going to be in bodybuilding also. So it's the same thing.
Well,
tough competition out.
The only one that probably won't have a former champion, but a lot of people hungry, is Classic Physique, because our friend Chris has been dominating that for a while, C-Bum. And then Andrea Shaw, they're always gunning for her, but we'll see what people bring to combat her this year.
Right.
Fun times, guys. Tarek El-Guindy.
Great to be here, Tim. I love you guys.
Don't forget to follow us.
Primetime Muscle
Don't
is
forget
the
to
most
follow us.
respected show in bodybuilding because we just present
Just the facts.
Just the facts.
Across all aspects of the sport, men, women, all the competitors who work so very hard to get there. And pros, we appreciate so much that you follow and give us your feedback as well.
And
follow,
subscribe,
share, and we'll see you next time on the next Primetime Muscle.